Ladies and gentlemen, are we live? Yes. Yes. We are ready to talk some major trauma going on in the world today. We are here to discuss things that make people uncomfortable. We are here to describe what most people are either afraid to describe or talk about, and would much rather not say the things that we say here on this this channel. Today is, what is today? Today is Monday, January 19th, 2026. I am your host, and this is Unofficially IMO. And what does the IMO stand for? It says, as is, in my opinion. Hello, everybody. Come in. Come in here. Get situated. Get ready to go, because we are about ready to talk about a few different things that I want to get off my chest. And what better way to do it here today? And this is episode 2 of our Unofficially IMO. I guess you could say it's a podcast, right? I guess you could say this is a podcast, because it is initially. It is a podcast when you think about it. Rowana, I am doing fantastic. Thank you for coming in here, and welcome everybody. Yes, hello. Dawn's in here too. Everybody's in here. Everybody's in here today. I got to get the clapping. I got to get everybody situated as you come in here. Welcome. I appreciate you guys coming in. Man, oh man, we got some things to talk about here today. Got a few things to get off my chest. A lot of things going on in the world. A lot of things going on. A lot of drama coming out of Minneapolis. And a lot, not just Minneapolis. I mean, there's things that people are forgetting that has occurred in the past, and it seems to be just kind of overlooked. And we'll get into that here in just a moment as well. And we'll also get in to a little bit what Don Lemon has been doing over the weekend. And if you haven't noticed the latest on Don Lemon, or as I like to say, Don Lemonhead, or Brandon Tatum says Don Lemon Juice, we will talk about the events that took place over the weekend with him going into a church. And you know, being there as part of a protest inside of a church on private property, all sorts of messed up stuff going on there. We will discuss it. We will talk about it, and we will get into it right here, right now. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not already, please do me a huge solid. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We are growing this channel to the highest of all highs, if we possibly can. 1 million subs is the goal. That is the ultimate goal, is to get this channel to 1 million subscribers. I know that's very far off, but I feel like, you know, I feel like we can do that as a community. We can get there, and with your help, we will do so. And I appreciate every single one of you that come in here, say hello, whether you agree with what I talk about or not. Let us agree to disagree with each other. And that's all I can really say. So subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Make sure you turn on all those notifications so you don't miss any time that I go live or that I upload a video. So again, this is episode 2. I guess you could say it is a podcast when you sit here and you think about it. It is a podcast. Okay. So because if you haven't already, go check out the very first episode that I uploaded on the YouTube channel here. That is our very first one that I have done. So go easy on me. I am not the greatest podcaster. I'm pretty good at, talking in front of a microphone, behind this microphone. But as far as like podcasting and things, I am very new to that. I'm very new to putting up episodes on the channel and all that stuff that comes with it. So yeah, it was fun. It was definitely fun. I'm like, I can really get into this. This is actually something that I could really get into and really have fun with. So this is very much still an experiment mode. for us to get in here and talk about the things we want to talk about. And one of the first things that I do want to discuss here today is some things that have been going on. Obviously, everybody knows about all the ICE raids. Everybody knows about all the Minneapolis, stuff that's going on with the protesters and protesters hating ICE and wanting to abolish. Congress wants to present laws or a bill, I should say, to abolish ICE, and all sorts of crazy stuff going on right now when it comes to ICE. But a lot of people tend to forget that there is a clip of Barack Obama on October 30th of 2007. CNN had a Democratic debate where the then Senator Barack Obama criticizes President George W. Bush for lax border enforcement, stating 5 million, ladies and gentlemen, stating that 5 million undocumented workers entered the United States since 2001, exacerbating economic exploitation and wage suppression for Americans. Obama advocates that comprehensive reform beefed up border security, employer penalties, English requirements. We can't say, you can't say English requirements now, but hey, that's what Obama was talking about back in 2007 when he was running for president. Let me start that over. Obama advocates comprehensive reform, beefed up border security, employee penalties, English requirements, and a back of the line citizenship path, mirroring enforcement focused elements later championized by Donald Trump. Yet the post highlights how the video highlights such critiques drew applause in 2007 when Barack Obama talked about it, but face accusations of xenophobia and all those things today when people like Donald Trump bring up the very thing that Barack Obama was talking about. So let me get into the video here. All right. Now, again, this video footage is from way back in 2007. Now, for those of you that are on the shorts feed, you're going to have kind of a hard time seeing this because it's on a vertical feed. But if you come over to the horizontal feed, I'm live on two different versions of the live stream here. I'm live on the shorts and I am live on the horizontal. If you want the full experience of the live stream and a full video of what I'm about to show you, come on over to the horizontal, guys, especially if you've already subscribed to the channel. Come on over to this, to the horizontal side. It's a much better viewing experience. Okay. But here it is, folks, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm about to play you is a lot of people tend to forget that this man deported more illegal aliens out of this country than any president in modern history. This man right here. That man right there that won back-to-back presidential terms pushed for stricter immigration laws and to get people that should not have been here out of the country. Nobody had a problem with it. Nobody had a problem with it. Nobody had problems with ICE. Nobody had problems with any of that stuff, right? Because it was Barack Obama and people weren't crazy like they are today, right? But let me show you exactly what the man said himself.
The Bush administration has done nothing to control the problem that we have. We've had 5 million.
So again, he's talking about the current administration at that time.
Million undocumented workers come over the borders.
5 million.
Since George Bush took office. It has become an extraordinary problem. And the reason the American people are concerned is because they are seeing their own economic position slip away. And oftentimes, employers are exploiting these undocumented workers. They're not paying the minimum wage. They're not observing worker safety laws. And so what we have to do is create a comprehensive solution to the problem. Now, I have already stated that as president, I will make sure that we finally have the kind of border security that we need.
Finally have the border security that we need.
Step number one. Step number two is to take on employers Right now, an employer has more of a chance of getting hit by lightning than be prosecuted for hiring an undocumented worker. That has to change. They have to be held accountable. And when we do those things, I believe that we can take the undocumented workers, the illegal aliens who are here, get them out of the shadows, make sure that they are subject to a stiff penalty, make sure that they're learning English, make sure that they go to the back of the line so they're not.
Did you hear what he said? Make sure that they're learning English. Could you imagine if Donald Trump said that? And I think he has actually. People would lose their ever-loving minds.
Getting an advantage over people who came here legally. And when we do that, I think that we can, instead of shedding all this heat, start shedding some light on the problem, and we can once again be a nation of laws and a nation of immigrants. That's what I intend to do as President of the United States.
Dude, what he just said made it hot in here. Hot. I got to turn this ceiling fan on right now, guys. Hold on a minute. Did y'all hear what the man said? Did you hear what he said? That same man wasn't even president yet. Ran off that. He ran off of that and he won. Nobody had any problems. The man who wanted change. Remember that whole change thing? That whole change slogan that went around when he was running for president? Y'all remember that, right? If you were around in 2007 or you cared enough to pay attention to politics back in 2007, this was a huge deal. You know, people were concerned about the state of this country when it came to legal immigration. Obviously, it was a big enough concern for probably the most, Barack Obama is probably the most highly decorative Democratic president since JFK. I don't think there's been anybody since JFK, as far as popularity goes, than Barack Obama. And when he said those things on that debate stage, nobody had a problem with it. Not like you see today. You look at the things that people are saying today about illegal immigration. It is not the same. It just is not the same. Everybody on the Democratic side was okay with Barack Obama running on this, saying this as a candidate for president in 2007 and winning the presidency of the United States in 2007, running off what he just said here. Obviously, he has said a lot of things back in those days, but this was one of the things that people were concerned about. But you didn't have the craziness like you do today. You don't have the unhinged people, the mental health issues like we do today. And one of the other things, ladies and gentlemen, that a lot of other people tend to forget as well. And I will show you. Now look at this. This is another person that Barack Obama appointed when he became president to handle the border crisis. And when I saw this, I don't think it was much of as a major crisis like it is today, by far, but it was still a very much a concerned United States of America back in those days. Like, what are we going to do about illegal immigration, Mr. Obama? What are we going to do? What is Senator Obama? How do you plan on fixing the border? That was one of the things that he talked about. And then another thing that blows my mind is that people tend to forget that Tom Homan, and I had to look this up. And again, for the viewing experience, guys, if you're over on the shorts feed, come over to the horizontal feed, guys. Just go to the channel, click on it. You'll be able to see a full screen of the live stream right here. You'll be able to see you'll be able to see what I'm talking about here. Okay. Now I had to look this up for myself because I could not remember. I was paying attention to the presidency, but I wasn't paying attention to the details of who's in charge of what back in those days. But I saw something the other day and I knew that I had to talk about this because it was cracking me up. And I was like, Tom Homan received by the man himself. Did he receive the Presidential Award for Service back in the day of Barack Obama? I was like, I had to look at Google, I had to look at DuckDuckGo, I had to look at other AI things that were out there, and then eventually I asked Gemini. I was like, I looked at X, I looked at Grok, I looked at I did some heavy research. I was like, really? And I forgot about that. I 100%, I forgot about this. And I was like, this is true. Yes, Tom Homan. This is according to Gemini, Google's Gemini. Yes, Tom Homan received the Presidential Rank Award specifically for the Distinguished Executive Rank in 2015. He was, now why did he get this award? He was honored by President Barack Obama for his exemplary leadership and extensive accomplishments in the area of immigration enforcement. At the time, Holman served as the Executive Associate Director for Enforcement and Removal Operations, which is ERO, at U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. ICE! You can't say that word out loud anymore, guys. If you say the word ICE anymore, you better be fucking talking about Vanilla Ice. Or Ice Cube. That's who you should be referring to. Not Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Not that ICE. You go straight to hell if you say that word out loud. Right? You go straight to hell. That's what it feels like anyway, doesn't it? I mean, come on, let's be real. If people, that is, besides saying the word MAGA or Trump and ICE, those are like the three most triggering words on the from the liberal Democratic side. People tend to get so triggered with those three words: MAGA, ICE, Tom Homan. I mean, people get triggered with that man all the time. You better be talking about Ice Cube, you motherfucker. You better be talking about Ice Cube. I know you didn't say the ICE and Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Watch your mouth. The Presidential Rank Award is considered the highest civil service award in the United States, granted annually to a small group of career executives for sustained extraordinary results. Sustained. Did you hear what that said? Sustained extraordinary results. In addition to the 2015 award, Holman has received other high-level honors during his career. Distinguished Service Medal 2018, that was awarded by Donald Trump himself. And then you have the National Security Medal in 2020, which was again awarded by Donald Trump. So people tend to forget that this was a thing. This right here, I thought this was photoshopped because I totally forgot. Because you want to know why I forgot about this? Number one, it was forever ago. That's the first thing. The second thing is that all you hear about is how fucking horrible Tom Homan is and how he's like a demon and he should be like just jailed and he's got threats on his life, and it's only because he reports to under Donald Trump. Nobody cares about what he's done in the past under another president. Mind you, doing the same thing that he's doing now. The only difference, ladies and gentlemen, is that Barack Obama is not president. That's the only difference. Donald Trump is president. That's it. That's it. And might I also add into that, to that as well, is we didn't have the sheer craziness that we do now when it comes to border security in 2015. We didn't have this problem. Okay. Not on the scale that you see today. Okay. Not on the scale that you see today. By the way, there's been over 10,000 arrests by ICE in Minneapolis. That just happened. That came out, was it just the other day? Kristi Noem said that they arrested 10,000 just in Minneapolis. I think just in Minneapolis. Okay. That's crazy. Anyway, but people forgot about this. And I'll admit I was one of them, because nobody ever talks about this from national media. You don't go to Fox News and hear about this. They might have talked about it briefly off and on. You for damn sure ain't going to go to MS Now and CNN and all these other, mainstream Democratic, pro-democratic media sources and see this, or let alone, talk about it, because they want people to forget that this man right there, this guy, sorry, Barack Obama, putting that medal around the same dude's neck for doing a job well done, getting people out of this country that don't belong here. That's what he did. That's what he did. And he got awarded for it because he did a great job. Job well done by the man himself, the most popular Democratic president I think we'll ever have. Okay. And mind you, I'm a fan of Barack Obama. I thought Barack Obama was a great president. I thought he's very well mannered. He's a very, very good talker. I respect that man as a way of how he communicated, his professionalism. Disagree with a few things that he did as president, but I give credit where credit is due. Well, Obama was a great president. And if we allowed multiple terms in a row, I have a feeling he would still be president, because he was very popular amongst the people. Okay. So I feel like he was a solid president, and a Democratic president at that. We haven't seen that for a long time. Hence that whole change thing with Obama. But ever since that, this man, only difference that Tom Homan is between Obama and Trump is Trump's a Republican president who pretty much said, hey, I want you to continue to work for me. And I want you to continue doing what you're doing. And then when Trump lost to the Biden administration, to Joe Biden, God, I thought our country was, I didn't know what our country was going to look like under that dude. But anyway, when all those tens of millions of illegal immigrants came across the border, the Mexican border, I mean, this guy had a job that probably most people probably wouldn't want to do. But the reason why Donald Trump held on to Tom is because he knew that this was the right man for the job, that he can do it. And people lost their fucking minds. I don't know why. He's keeping this country safe. Obviously, he got awarded for it. Right there. There it is. The little gold medal right there. Tom probably hangs that, high and proud on a mantle somewhere, maybe above the fireplace in his house. Boom. Right there. I'd bust it out every once in a while just to kind of rub it in people's faces. Y'all didn't have a problem with me under Barack Obama, but now all of a sudden, since Donald Trump became president, now it's a problem. Now it's an issue. It's crazy. That is the only difference. You can argue with me all day and say, no, he's not. That's not what it is. He's this or that. He's changed because of this policy or that policy, whatever. The job of Tom Holman is to continue to get people out of this country that does not belong here. Okay? And he's been doing that. All right? The only difference is, never forget that it was under Barack Obama, Democrat. It was okay. Now that became a problem, a major issue under Donald Trump, that we have tens of millions more that we need to get out of this country. Now all of a sudden it's a problem because Donald Trump's president, and he's the most hated president ever in this country, ever. You'll never have a president hated as much as Donald Trump. And that's the difference, ladies and gentlemen. That is the difference. I wanted to talk about that because I thought that was super interesting. And a lot of people don't want to talk about that. Why? Why? What for? What's the problem? You know, it's because you don't hear about it anymore. That's old news, but nothing's changed except for who's running the country. And that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, please do me a favor. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well, especially if you are new here. I do appreciate all of you coming in here, shooting the breeze with me here today, talking about very unpopular opinions that either people don't want me to talk about or just don't want to hear about. But I'm going to do it anyway because I can. I'm allowed to. Because this is the greatest country in the world, and it's my First Amendment right to talk about those things. And like I said, it's not popular with people, and that's okay. But never forget that Tom Holman, the man's got death threats, him, his family, for just doing a job. He's just doing his job. That's it. He's just doing a job that he was asked to do, and he's damn good at it. And people don't like it because Donald Trump is president. That's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. That is the truth. Now, moving on. Moving on, ladies and gents. I wanted to also talk about this too. Now, going into the next topic. Here. This video that I'm going to play for you here today is from a clip from Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Snelling. This was on October 6th of 2025, but it still holds true to this day. That was a press conference that he had where he clarifies that obstructing federal agents like ICE with vehicles constitutes, I almost said constituents, constitutes deadly force, allowing them to respond accordingly. Presented as breaking news on January 11, 2026, the video gamered over 240,000 likes and significant posts and reposts reflecting ongoing debates on immigration enforcement and sanctuary cities among recent protests. Snelling's remarks underscore Chicago PD's policy of non-interference with federal duties, drawing praise for prioritizing officer safety and legal clarity over political pressures from city leadership. Now, again, this is not anything new of this police chief in Chicago. The reason why this video is resurfacing from when he had that press conference of last year is because it still holds true to this day. As far as obstructing ICE, blocking vehicles, and preventing these federal agents from doing their job. And this police chief of Chicago was talking about this very thing that people are doing today. And what he said was absolutely insane. And I just want to kind of play this clip here for you guys. Because again, this is I don't know this guy's political, stance on anything. He is a law enforcement officer for the city of Chicago, and he's laying down the law. Give this man a medal right here, which you're about to hear right here, right now.
Let me make this clear. Federal agents, ICE, HSI are officers. They are agents of law enforcement.
Yep.
If you box them in with vehicles, it is reasonable for them to believe that they are being ambushed.
Oh.
And that this could end in a deadly situation. And it's reasonable for them to use force based on those conditions. Do not box in any law enforcement officer. You are breaking the law when you do that.
You're breaking the law when you do that. What are you seeing these protesters do? You see it every day. You turn on the news. You see it every day. You go on X, you go on Facebook, you go on Instagram, you go on TikTok, you go on MS Now, CNN, CBS, ABC, NBC, WNBC, CBS, whatever. You go to any of these news networks, you see that all the time where people are boxing these ICE officers in or trying to prevent them from doing their job. You see it all the time. You see it more so in Minneapolis than anywhere else, obviously, because of the craziness that's happening in that city right now. But the man has a point.
And you are putting yourself in danger. Following law enforcement agents around. The question is why?
Yeah.
What do you plan on doing? It's also reasonable for them to believe that you're eventually going to do harm to them.
That is 100% true. I agree. 100%. You follow around a law enforcement officer, they're probably thinking to themselves, like, why are you following me unless you mean harm to me? They are thinking the absolute worst of the worst, right? Same goes with these ICE agents. Like, you're following me. You have no reason whatsoever to follow me, but you're doing it. Why? Now I'm in fear of my safety because you're being a weirdo and you're following me around.
If you ram any vehicle, especially that one that contains law enforcement agents, and that's any law enforcement, local, state, federal, county, and you do this intentionally, this is considered deadly force. Deadly force is anything that can cause great bodily harm or death.
Yep.
When you plow into a vehicle that contains law enforcement agents, you're using deadly force. And they can use deadly force in response to stop you.
Oh, you're not allowed to say that. Yeah, that's sir, we respect your opinion, but you can't say that out loud. You said the one thing out loud that nobody wants to say. How dare you? How dare you say that out loud? You got to be kidding me. This guy's he's trolling, right? He had to have been trolling.
We need to be clear about these laws. We cannot become a society where we just decide to take everything in our own hands and start to commit crimes against law enforcement. It is a crime.
It is.
You may not like what they're doing.
Yeah.
I can understand that there's a lot of emotions out there, but that does not mean that you get to commit a crime.
And committing a crime is all you see happening out of Minneapolis, ladies and gents. That's all you see happening there. These protesters, these citizens, supposedly exercising their First Amendment right to be able to protest. No one's arguing the fact that you can't protest. Protest all you want. But what they're doing on top of the protesting is they're breaking laws that they probably, honest to God, feel like no laws are being broken because I'm just exercising my First Amendment right. What, to box in federal agents that, mind you, are law enforcement officers, whether you like it or not, that are there to do a job and to protect people like you that are allowed to go out here and protest and do it out of your own free will in the comfort and safety of your city by people like this, ICE officers to help keep your city safe so you can go out there and do the things that you're doing. You cannot box in law enforcement officers, follow them around, go to the hotel that they're at, give them death threats, and do all these things and put these people on blast. That is illegal. And people more and more nowadays don't give a fuck. And it's so crazy to me that people are this ballsy to go out there and do these things and actually exercise that motion to break those laws and not have any fear of any consequence whatsoever. None. And it's scary as fuck, man. It really is. And the more that these people that are in charge of these cities that sit there and say that, like Tim Walz, I'm just kind of paraphrasing, take out your cameras, film the acts that you're seeing, so we can have a large database of all this stuff that's occurring that we can use for federal or for future prosecutions and all this. Like, shut up. Just shut up. You're telling people to keep doing what they're doing is what you're saying. To keep breaking laws. Instead of saying, hey, listen, we get what you're so pissed off about. We got you. We understand why you're mad. But you have no right to do what you're doing. Take your shit and get out of here. Let these men do their job. These men and women of Custom and Border Agents, all these guys. The men and women that in law enforcement. This is law enforcement, guys. Don't get it mistaken. It's part of law enforcement. Let these guys do their job. Let them help protect our city from getting these dangerous criminals out of our city. Let them do their job. That's not what you're seeing. You're not seeing that. You're just not. You're seeing the opposite. You see the mayor saying these crazy things and encouraging the protests. Instead of telling people, go home. Just go home. Let these, if these protesters and things would leave these ICE agents alone, if they would just leave them alone, let them do what they need to do. They probably most likely would have already been out of your city by now. I mean, fuck, they arrested 10,000 people. Go look it up. If you haven't heard already. From, like I said earlier, Kristi Noem said they just arrested 10,000 criminals in Minneapolis. In one city, guys. That's one city. How many arrests does local law enforcement in your city make in 6 months of from illegal activity going on? Just people being arrested in general. Is it even close to 10,000? Maybe. Depending upon where you live, I don't know. But when I heard 10,000 people arrested. How long's ICE been in Minneapolis? Not all that long when you think about it. Not all that long. And they arrested 10,000 people? I don't even think there's some cities, major cities out there, probably don't even arrest 10,000 people in 5 years, let alone with just a short amount of time.
Especially one that could lead to deadly force. We need to keep everyone safe. Our responsibilities when it comes to federal agents, and I've been asked these questions, we do not interfere with the duties and responsibilities of federal agents.
We do not interfere with the responsibilities of federal agents. That's coming from mind you, a very pro-democratic city of Chicago. It might not be on the next election. It might actually, they might actually get a Republican mayor for once, but who knows, right? But that's coming from a local law enforcement of the city of Chicago telling people like, hey, we don't do that. Our law enforcement officers, as long as this guy's in charge, we're not going to do that. If anything, if you want ICE out of your cities as soon as possible, you would instruct your local police to say, hey, go and help these guys. I want you to help these guys so that way they can do what they need to do and we can get them out of here. But instead, you're not doing that. You're demonizing these people, and it's making people unhinged, and it's making people do some really crazy shit. And it's just causing more problems for your city when you allow this to just continue to happen, and you don't try to bring the rhetoric down. Okay? Instead of working with these people and trying to help these federal agents do a job, you're making it more difficult for them. You want them gone? Why don't you help them speed up the process? Help these federal agents speed up the process so you can get them out of your city. Okay? And then you can try to figure out how to manage the crisis a little bit better in your city so ICE doesn't have to come back and try to, do the job that I feel that local law enforcement should have been able to do, but they're probably so restricted in that city right now that they're probably not even allowed to bat an eye towards these guys without getting in trouble. I'm assuming, you know what I mean? And no one's doing anything to stop these protests from getting so damn crazy. I forgot the man's name. He's a Republican activist. I can't remember his name. Over the weekend, he was dragged off in front of a crowd of protesters. They literally grabbed this guy, drug him off into a crowd of people. I can't remember the guy's name, but I saw that. I was like, what the fuck? No one's doing anything to stop it. I can't remember the guy's name, but if local law enforcement was there to help these guys to do the job, they'd be out of your hair in no time, but you're not doing that. So what do? You know what I mean? What do you do in that sense? There's literally nothing you can do. And that's sad. It really is. That's sad. ICE, just leave. Get out of here. Blah, 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 blah. But we're not going to help you get out of here faster. We just want you to leave. And newsflash, guys, ICE isn't going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. They're going to come to a city near you, to a city near me, and they're going to continue to do the job that they were instructed to do and the job that they signed up to do, and that's to keep this country safe. And that's what they're doing. And the people that have a problem with that are the ones that you have to stop and think to yourself, like, man, are you guys okay? Are you guys okay? Are you good? Like everything okay up here? You know what I mean? Because I can't think of any sane person that would want to put themselves in harm's way by following around ICE agents and impeding on investigations and just making yourself super, super sus. Super sus, man. You're just making things so much difficult for them and for yourself. I don't even know what kind of charges these citizens are getting when they get arrested, man. It's got to be crazy charges. Felony charges at that. I don't want that. I don't want that shit, man. Because here's what's going to happen. You get arrested by a federal law enforcement agent for impeding on any sort of like ICE investigation, or you're boxing him in, and you're being charged with obstruction and all this, trespassing, all this other shit, right? And it's like probably one felony count after another, after another, after another. And that's with you, right? For the rest of your life. That's going to follow you until you're dead. And let's just pretend 5-10 years from now, these same people that have literally lost their way, mentally, look back on their time as being a First Amendment, person and exercising my First Amendment right and protesting. Then they go back and look at this for themselves, and it could be on video of you being a complete dumbass. That could be out there. And then if that's out there, and then you might have changed your life, you might have, straightened up the things that you've wanted to straighten up, and you look back at your past and you're like, that wasn't good for me. I shouldn't have done that. That was stupid. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but that was not right. What I did back in those days was not right. I've changed my life around. And then they look back on that and then they have like total regret because they got like felonies and misdemeanors and all sorts of shit on their record for being dumb. Mind you, grown adult, a lot of these people, for doing the dumbest shit. They're just doing the dumbest shit. And I guarantee you there's going to be some point, especially these young folks, there's going to be a point in time in their lives later on down the road, and they look at this and go, that was fucking stupid. That was dumb. Shouldn't have done that. That was dumb. That was dumb. And you're probably going to see that. And I don't want that on my conscience. I don't want that following me around. Who the hell wants that? Who the hell wants that? Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Okay. Nobody does. So my message to a lot of these people out there, just go home. You have no business being down there. You have no business being down there doing what you're doing. None whatsoever. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on to Don Lemon. Don Lemon. If all of you guys were in, I shouldn't say but just watching the news over the weekend, or maybe you saw this post of a video of Don Lemon on site reporting during an anti-ICE protest that interrupted a January 18, 2026 service at City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota, where activists chanted against the pastor's alleged ICE ties following a January 7 fatal shooting of, obviously we know, Renee Good by an ICE agent. This video that we're going to show you captures Lemon in a beanie hat and holding a microphone, closely confronting the pastor of the church near the church's altar. And he's talking to this man and he's like interviewing this guy. And the pastor's pretty much just saying, hey, I this is a house of God. You know, I gotta, you know, this is nonsense. And when Don Lemon was there with these protesters, mind you, he interviewed this woman prior to going in there and disrupting this church service and all this other stuff. And it just felt like it was illegal on multiple different areas of laws being broken. And if I see the video, we'll play it. But this event prompted a DOJ probe under the FACE Act for obstructing worship with an assistant AG, Hammett Dillon, I think his name is, warning Lemon of charges. While Trump reposted calls for imprisonment, replies reflects conservative demands for accountability versus defensive of journalistic access. So let's take a look and watch the video here.
What do you think of this?
Let me go ahead and go to the video. And again, this is Don Lemon, formerly an anchor on CNN. There's a reason why they got rid of him. Okay. There's a reason why they got rid of him. And he's a so-called independent journalist now, and he's claiming that, hey, I'm just here to do some journalism with these protesters. This dude was involved with the protests. Let's be real.
What do you think of this?
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
okay, but listen, we live in there's a constitution and the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
That's not, he's trespassing. He's trespassing. It's just not a standard protest. You should have stayed outside. He should have stayed outside. That's not what happened here. They just kind of waltzed their way inside during this worship. And then you had Don Lemon in here sticking a microphone in the pastor's face, like saying all this stuff.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
Please be very respectful. Please don't push me, though. What You're lucky you didn't get your ass thrown out of the chapel. That's what's happening right now. You're lucky that the people didn't stand up and dragged your ass along with these other protesters out of this church. You're lucky that the men of this church should have stood up and done something about this, but they didn't. They just allowed this to happen. They allowed these people to come in here during a worship and getting these poor people that are in this church. These people, like, literally, they're probably scared to death. Some of these people coming in here and being disruptive, being loud, screaming in their faces. There's one dude with a beanie hat on and a beard. He was like screaming in this guy's face. And it's like, what was the purpose of that? What was the whole point of all this happening? There wasn't any. You were just trying to get clicks. In my opinion, Mr. Lemon Juice, as Brandon Tatum likes to call him. And I think you were just trying to get clicks. You were trying to stay relevant within the scene of journalism.
We're here to worship Jesus. Yes. That's why we're here. Yeah. Okay, that's why we're here. Okay. That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a Christian?
No one is willing to talk.
Okay.
It's just, he's asked, like, did you try to talk to these people? He's right. Nobody's gonna want to talk about that. Do you think you can reason with these protesters that came in here and started just yelling and screaming at the people of this church? Do you think they want to listen to this guy? I doubt it. They don't want to listen. I think they're beyond the point of listening because they just waltzed their way into this church.
Okay. I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to chronicle.
So this is actually a couple ticks behind. I'm not really sure why.
You're here to worship.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here to worship. Yeah. We're here to worship.
I'm a Christian, but I waltz into Christian churches and want to be a part of a protest and trespass on private property. No, you're not. You are no Christian, Don Lemon. And what this pastor should have done is, even if he did try to talk to these people, he could have asked Don Lemon, like, if you're a Christian, then why are you... Anyway. No, you're not. Don Lemon is not a Christian. Because if you were, you wouldn't probably be doing what you're doing right now. I can tell you that much. And most of the time, people that call themselves Christians, they're going to stand up and protect their families too. And the men and women of this church, the women and children of this church were scared to death of these protesters coming in here. And you see any of the men in here trying to stand up and say, listen, you guys need to get out of here. Get out of here. You're not here to be nice. You're here to cause trouble. Let's be honest. That's what they were doing. They went into that church because they wanted to disrupt and create problems for people. They did it on purpose. And that's it. That's the only reason. Okay? You could disagree with me on that. There's a time and a place to protest, but going into a private property and just kind of waltzing your way in there. It's not like they went in there and sat down to hear the word from the preacher. That's not what happened. And if that was the case, this just never would have happened. They went in there to disrupt and cause problems and to scare people. That's what they did. And I'm really surprised that the men didn't stand up to protect these men, these women and children, and literally say, get out of here. You know, that kind of rhetoric of what you're displaying in this church is not acceptable. It's not acceptable. You need to get out. Go. I'm going to tell you, and if you don't listen, I'm going to force you to. Right? That's the kind of thing that should have had. Nobody was standing up for anybody. Not that I saw in a video. It was just more like the protesters just yelling at these people, and everybody, I think honestly, everybody was just so shocked that these people came in here, and they've probably never seen something like that before. And they probably didn't expect it. They probably didn't even expect something like that. I mean, would you? I mean, if I'm in Minneapolis, especially now, I mean, I expect the unexpected, right? Especially with protesters going and doing the things that they're doing. If they're crazy enough to go and obstruct ICE agents, nothing is going to stop these people from going anywhere and protesting anywhere. But this should have never happened. This should have never happened. Now, I don't know how many of y'all out there go to church or religious in any way, shape, or form. But the last thing you think about when you go into a church setting is a large crowd just waltzing through the front door, not to sit down to hear the word of Christ or the gospel or the Old Testament or something in the New Testament. No. Instead, you get people that come in, circle around you, get in your face, screamed at, yelled at, saying all this crazy stuff. That's what happened. And I think people were just scared. They didn't know what to think about it, right? They had no idea what to even expect with this. And I think it just caught them off guard.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, so that's pretty much the end of the video. So then people just were not ready for that. They just were not ready for it. And it's just really sad that nobody stood up. It feels like nobody stood up and tried to say, hey, what you guys are doing is wrong. You need to get out of here. You need to get out of here. And unfortunately, that's not what we saw here. So there's another clip here of Don Lemon doubling down and was talking to this woman, and I cannot remember her name. And he's pretty much talking to this woman about what exactly.
And there's a certain degree of it.
I don't think he's talking about exactly what took place, but he's just saying some really crazy stuff. I actually haven't seen this video yet, so let's take a look at it. And watch it together here. Let's see exactly what he's talking to. Now, I can't remember this woman's name over here on the left here, but I've seen her before, and she has said some really crazy stuff in the past. But she's got Don Lemon here, and she's talking to him, and let's see exactly what he was. I think he's just pretty much doubling down on what he was doing.
And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement.
What Christianity do you practice, Don? I could say all sorts of stuff about this man, but I'm not going to. I'm not. I don't know what other Christianity you're talking about. Oh, mind you, would he go into, when I first heard about this, I was like, there's a fucking snowball's chance in hell that this man would go into a mosque and do that. There's no way in hell that this man would never go into a mosque with Muslims on a Sunday or a Saturday, whatever day it is out of the week it is, and protest. I don't think you would ever see that. I don't think he would ever do that. But you go into a Baptist church and you do it. Why? Why? Why are you doing that? So for him to say, that's not the, I'm a Christian too. I don't know what Christianity you're following, if it is Christianity, but it's not the word of Christ.
Comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male.
Okay.
Pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that I'm the biggest name there. And I'm also, as I was on.
No, you used to be one of the bigger names in journalism, but you're not anymore. You're not. You got other bigger journalists like Nick Shirley, who's a much more of an independent journalist right now than Don. Don Lemon is an independent journalist now. He doesn't work for CNN. He has it for a while. He's an independent journalist. Everybody knows who you are from saying a bunch of crazy shit when you were on CNN. and you don't work there anymore, probably because nobody cared to watch you. Your ratings were probably, so far down that CNN's like, we can't afford to keep you on. Nobody's watching. Okay. And this man probably feels like he has to say and do things to stay relevant within the industry. That's what he's doing. That's exactly what he's doing. So he's got to put himself in situations to where he feels like, hey, if I do this, this might get me clicks. I think that's why he's doing what he's doing.
I'm with my producers this morning. You and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America. And there's a certain.
Okay. Well, listen, the problem is with this man is it's always a white supremacy thing. That's how it always comes down to that. It always comes down to white supremacy, white people, this and all this other stuff. And I'm sick of it, man. Like, I'm tired of hearing about that. And that's all it seems like that's exactly what it comes down to. That's what it feels like it comes down to. It's really sad. It really is. It's really sad. And I just think, like, there was no reason for that man to go to Minneapolis, to be a part of that protest, to go into that church, a so-called Christian man. He's not a Christian. He's just not. Okay. He's just, in my opinion, he's not. You can be, but you're just not. Okay. Let's be real. He's not doing any good by doing what he did. And now doing what he did with those protesters, it's looking like he may potentially be charged with a crime or 2 or 3. And he's claiming, no, I'm just being a journalist. No, you went in there, you trespassed, you were part of the organization to go in there with those protesters. You were causing havoc amongst the people. People were scared, especially given the tension in Minneapolis right now with all the craziness going on with ICE. We all know and are very much aware of that. People were scared to death. And no one knew what to do. You were part of that. You were part of that problem. And he's sitting there talking to the preacher, saying all this stuff. And he's like, just don't touch me. Don't push me. So what if he did? So what if he did? Do you know how many churches out there have security? There are a lot of churches out there that have their own security. And most of the time, some of those people are armed. It's armed security. And sometimes you have to, because you just don't know anymore. Most of the time, the people that go to Sunday worship, the last thing these people are expecting is for some sort of violence to take place in the church. But there's a lot of churches out there that feel like, hey, we have to have security and to protect these people, especially nowadays. We have no idea what people are going to do anymore. We don't know what people are thinking. We don't know what type of, what's going through their minds as far as, do they want to cause harm on people? I mean, how many church shootings do you see? You don't see a whole lot, but you do see them. And do you blame these churches for having security? I don't. I think they should. We live in a very violent world. And the last place that I want to go to and to potentially be harmed by a crazy person or people is church. That shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen anywhere. And that goes for protesters that trespass on it is private property. It is private property. Okay. It is. Just because it's a church and the doors are open to anybody, that doesn't mean that gives you the right to just waltz in there and create havoc amongst the people. Like I said, if you think they were there, that's why he said, you didn't even try talking to the people. Are you going to even talk to them? There's no talking to these guys. They didn't just, like I said, come in there and sit down and sing Kumbaya and listen to the word. They didn't do that. They come in there making noise, causing disruption and scaring the fuck out of everybody. I think people are just shocked that would take place. I think that's what it is. People were just shocked that would happen. And yet here we are. And I think Brandon Tatum, we're big fans of Brandon Tatum in this house. Big fans of Brandon Tatum. Mark Dice, all those guys. Brandon Tatum was talking about Don Lemon in a video that he put out recently. And Brandon Tatum said that, he wants to donate to that pastor. He wants to give money to that church. And he wants to offer security to these guys. He's got some sort of security. He offered some sort of security to these people. I don't know if it was a website. I don't know if I think Brandon Tatum does business with the security company, but he was saying like, hey, go sign up for the security. I think you guys are going to need it. And I think a lot of churches should have it, and not just churches. Like, I think just anywhere where there's disruption like this, you gotta protect yourself. You have no idea what's out there and what people are thinking and how unhinged people are, especially nowadays. Like I said, we are so divided anymore. It's insane. It's totally insane. Never seen anything like it. Never. In my opinion, the people of that church, the men, should have stood up and made these people get out of the church. Get out of here. Get out of here. You're not here to be civil. You're here to disrupt and cause problems. Get out. You are not welcome here. Yes, even in a church setting, you are here to just cause issues. That is not necessary. That is not welcome here. Get out of here. Come back when you're civilized. If that's even possible with some of these people. But that's not what happened, guys. That's not what happened. These people went in there, and Don Lemon, being a so-called independent journalist, filming the whole entire thing, and claiming that that's these people's rights. Were allowed to go protesting. No, you weren't. I'm pretty sure you weren't. That's private property. There's probably already charges that's going to get brought against them. I do not be surprised if that happens. Because it's looking like he's being looked into for being part of the organization to go in there and do what those people were doing. It's looking like he was involved. And if that's the case, then he will most likely be charged with a crime, or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10, whatever, and that's the way it is. And I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, what will happen after that? He will blame it on the white man. He will bring up white supremacy and Donald Trump. Guarantee it. And that is all I have on my plate here today. Guys, all of you, if you haven't already, please do me a huge favor. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new here, turn on all notifications so you don't miss anytime I go live or I upload a video. And again, you guys, I know I missed the chat. I try not to read chat too much when I'm in the middle of trying to do this, because I get sidetracked very easy and I could easily veer off course pretty fast. And it's hard for me to land the plane at that point. It really is. It really is. Don Lemon needs to stop. I agree. He needs to stop. He just needs to stop. He needs to get over himself. Stop acting like you're a big shot in the journalist industry, because you're not. You used to be once upon a time until Donald Trump ran for president and you lost your fucking mind. That's the truth. That's the truth. Don Lemon used to be a badass way back in the 2013, 2014 days, 2010 days. CNN used to be a really good network to watch. We watch CNN all the time. But until Donald Trump came down those escalators at Trump Tower, fuck, these people just, man, it was like a light switch that went off. It's like all common sense just left the building. Who is paying you? Meaning me? See, again, sometimes I don't know if you guys are talking amongst each other or talking to me. Carnage is thinking that, but not really happening. Silly Americans. They paid him $5 million to leave. They paid, you mean Don Lemon? They paid Don Lemon $5 million to leave. I don't know the details behind that, but if they did, that's kind of crazy. Doesn't surprise me. Private property is a trespass, and that is a minor infraction. I think there's a little bit more behind that than just trespassing. I mean, I think this man traveled across state lines to be part of an organized protest. I don't know if that's okay. I'm pretty sure that's not okay. He just wasn't getting the views, guys. Don Lemon wasn't getting the views over at CNN, along with a few other. Who's the other one? Chris. His brother was mayor of New York. Chris. What is his name? I can't remember his name now. His brother was mayor of New York once upon a time. He just ran for mayor before Mom Dami got in there. God bless that city. I don't know what's going to happen in New York. I don't know. 2026 might be a crazy year for folks in New York City. Crazy year. Cuomo, yes, Chris Cuomo. That's another one that CNN let go. People just got tired of the craziness, you know. And then it's funny when Chris Cuomo left, he went to the other news network. Can't remember what it is, but it seems like he's okay with Trump now. That's funny how that works, right? It seems like he's down with Trump. But it's hard to imagine what 2026 is going to look like for New York City. I really don't know. I really don't know what New York City is going to look like in 2 years, let alone 1 year. In 2 years, I have no clue. It's kind of like just kind of grab your popcorn and just sit back and relax and see what happens, you know. And then again, that dude, it probably won't get shit done because the things that he's trying to do is probably not going to work. It's not going to fly, you know, with most people, or it may not get passed. Any new laws he's trying to pass for New York or any new regulations and all this stuff is probably not going to pass. A lot of this stuff. Chris Cuomo, he did. He started rooting for Donald Trump when he left CNN. He really did. He really did. It's amazing. And it's amazing that some of these people that did not care for Donald Trump, that had like nothing but bad things to say about this guy, and then they finally meet him in person. Like Bill Maher finally sat down and talked to Donald Trump, and now it feels like Bill Maher is just kind of like, oh yeah, Donald Trump's not a bad guy at all. Damn, actually, he probably actually really likes the guy. He actually had dinner. I think he had dinner at Mar-a-Lago. Bill Maher did, and he went back and talked on a show about it. And he's like, he's not all these things that people are calling him. He's just not. I sat with the guy for hours and talked to him and had dinner with him, and no cameras, none of that stuff was around. And Bill Maher it seemed like he was totally fine with Trump after that. It's crazy. And Bill Maher's kind of, you can tell he's getting a little fed up with the Dems. You can tell he's a little pissed at that. You can tell he's like, these guys are nuts. These guys are nuts. Listen, there's nothing wrong with being a Democrat. Well, yeah, there kind of is a lot of things I think that's wrong with Democrats. But there's such things as being a civilized Democrat that is open to both sides and is very open-minded to ideas from both sides of the aisle, and isn't going to demonize the other side for having a different set of opinions that they don't like. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. Who's the guy from Pennsylvania that had the stroke that he ran for, I think it was Senate with Dr. Oz? Oh, I have names at the tip of my tongue and I just can't remember his name. My logic, it was literally backwards. You can keep scrolling. You don't have to sit here. You keep on keeping on, keyboard warrior. Keep on keeping on, man. Go bother somebody else. Go bother somebody else. Fetterman, yes. Fetterman. And I didn't think he was going to win against Dr. Oz after he had his stroke. I'd be the first to admit, I was like, there's no way. There's no way this guy's going to win. And he won. He won. And, he's since recovered quite a bit from his stroke that he had, which is crazy because it looked like he was kind of bad there for a while. But it's funny that he's a Democrat. He's making a lot of sense, you know, and he wants to work with both sides of the aisle. And Fetterman turns out to be a pretty likable guy, and he's a Democrat. I have no problems with Democrats, guys. I have none whatsoever. None. But when you sit there and you spew the filth that comes out of these people's mouths, you're like, dude, why? Why do you want to? Why are you talking like that? That is pure insanity. Some of the stuff that they're doing, abolish ICE. Remember defund the police? You guys remember that? Allowing these illegal immigrants to come across the border and in droves the way they did. It's like, dude, what is happening right now? That is insanity. Recruitment numbers were down during the Biden administration. Y'all remember this? I do. I'll never forget I'll never forget some of the craziness that came out of that administration. I'll never forget that ever. And in my opinion, that's the worst presidential administration that we have ever seen. Ever. You'll never see that. There's two things you'll never see again. A president like Donald Trump. That is one in a billion shot. You'll never see that again. You'll never see the type of presidency that this man is doing right now. That's the first thing. The second thing is you'll never see another administration like Joe Biden, the administration that he had. That was the most insane administration that I have in my lifetime. That's the only time in my lifetime, twice. Sorry, there were two times. 9/11, I thought the world was coming to an end because I was just a kid. I thought the world was coming to an end. I thought we're all fucked. We're screwed. We're going to get attacked. We're all dying. That was my mentality when 9/11 happened because I was just a stupid kid. But when I saw the World Trade Center get hit, I was scared as a kid because I didn't know what the hell was going on. All I knew is we were being attacked from all different angles from the air. And I'm like, I think everybody was scared that day. Right? So that's the first time I thought the world was coming to an end. The second time was during the Biden administration. I thought the world was going to fucking collapse. I really did. I didn't know what direction this country was going to end up in. I didn't know what it was going to look like if Kamala Harris got in there. And I didn't know what, from one day to the next, what the fuck was going to happen to this country. I was generally concerned. Generally concerned. I didn't know what was going to, like, what kind of craziness from one day to the next. Like, what is this guy going to say? What executive order is he going to sign that's going to change the course of something? The whole Abiegate situation in Afghanistan, when we exited Afghanistan, and just that was crazy. Just the things that that administration did, especially the open borders thing, that scared me. That was so concerning on so many levels that I thought there was going to be another terrorist attack. I am shocked. I really am. I'm shocked that didn't happen under his watch. The amount of just millions of people coming here from all over the world, man. China, Afghanistan, fucking Iraq, Saudi Arabia, like just people from all over the Middle East that were on the terrorist watch list that we caught. That we in my opinion, we are so lucky that we didn't get attacked. That there wasn't another, God forbid, it's some sort of another 9/11 that could have potentially happened under his administration, because I was generally concerned. I mean, I'm not going to bullshit you. I really was. And I think a lot of people were. And I think that people noticed the direction this country was going in, and everybody just decided to say, you know what? We messed up, guys. We messed up. We apologize. We should have never, we voted the wrong dude in there. We voted, we fucked up. Okay. Let's put the other guy back in. We were better off. I think that was the thing that people were thinking during the last election. They were probably sitting there thinking to themselves, we messed up, guys. We thought the country was heading in the wrong direction with COVID and all this other stuff. No, we messed up. Let's put this man back in office. We can't sustain another 4 years or potentially 8 years with the same, pretty much would have been the same administration, because Kamala could not think of anything that comes to mind of what she would change under Joe Biden. Y'all remember that? There's nothing that comes to mind. I'm like, oh, well, you just lost. You just lost. Oh, you just lost the presidency. So there's 2 times in my life, and hopefully we don't come across that again, where I thought this country was doomed. 9/11 and the 4 years of the Biden administration. It's like, God, we can't go through that again. We just can't afford to. Although if you did have a 401k, you did all right. That's the one thing that didn't collapse, was a 401k. But again, not everybody has a 401k. Not everybody has retirement funds. It seemed like the only thing that did not feel like was on the brink of collapse, right, was that part of the economy. But as far as like people getting hurt from potential terrorist attacks and just allowing all this stuff to continue under that administration, I was generally scared. I was like, I don't know what's going to happen, guys. I have no idea. No idea. You can't say MAGA. That is the most triggering word in the world to people. Make America great again. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with making anything great? You know, even your job. Wouldn't you want, there's always a room for improvement everywhere to make something better than it once was, right? That's the whole thing about America. And let's just pretend Barack Obama said that. Make America great again. Or Hillary Clinton said that, or, came up with that first. Nobody would care. As a matter of fact, people would probably be like, if I'd be like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Sure. Let's make this country great. But Donald Trump says it and everybody loses their minds. It's insane. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's so mind-boggling to me. It's a recycled slogan from Reagan. Come up with something new. Nobody cared about it until Donald Trump resurfaced it. And I don't even know if that's true or not. I have no idea if that's even something that Ronald Reagan said. Is that even true? Did Ronald Reagan actually really say that? I've never heard of that. And if he did, it wasn't on the scale of how it is right now with Donald Trump. Because Trump is your orange daddy. You know what? There was somebody out there. There was somebody out there that I think it was like somebody out there said, I don't understand why people hate Donald Trump so much. Because they were referring to him as being like a gangster. Like, isn't that like, if you're a gangster, wouldn't you be a fan of Donald Trump? I don't remember where I saw it. I saw it on like X somewhere or something. I can't remember. He's like, dude, Donald Trump is kind of like a gangster if you think about it. He's fucking rich. He's in the White House. He's a billionaire. He just says what he wants. He comes and goes as he pleases. Nothing bothers this guy. Like he has a don't give a fuck attitude, kind of like a gangster. I can't remember where I saw that. I thought that was funny. I'm like, yeah, guys. I mean, isn't it? Isn't that like, kind of like one of those things, Straight up gangster. Donald Trump.
Thug Life certified.
Then you
You're
got
a stupid dumbass.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Then you got people probably telling me that now. Got it. Yeah. But other than that, yeah, I don't understand. Like, if it came from a Democrat, nobody would have a problem with it. But since Donald Trump's doing it, everybody's got a problem with it. And it's just really funny how that works. It's just funny. And that's why I talked about it. That's why I wanted to talk about Barack Obama today, giving that award to Tom Homan, because people forget about that stuff. Or you may not have been aware of that. You know how many people out there that hate Tom Homan for doing what he's doing, but tend to forget that they were once fans of Barack Obama, and he's like their Lord and Savior for Democrats is Barack Obama. Let's be honest. He is. He's like their guy. And for him to give that award to Tom Homan, people forget about that stuff for doing the same job, guys, the same job that he's doing now. He's just doing it under another president at a much larger scale. That's it. That's it. In my opinion, he's more busier now today than he ever was been. And now he's so hated for it for no reason. None. If you have a problem with keeping this country safe from criminals and you're protecting the criminal, you have that criminal mentality of standing up for the criminal than for the people that they're trying to protect. There was a video of an ICE agent telling the people that we're trying to arrest this predator, and you're trying and you're supporting the predator. You're like protecting the predator that we're trying to arrest. It's insane. That video it's out there. It's all over the internet. Go watch it. It's an ICE agent in a pickup truck was driving away in his pickup truck, and he just comes across this, I think it was a man or woman that was filming him. And he's like, you're literally protecting the criminal. That's what you're doing. Insane. Insane. What is wrong with protecting this country? You can't just go. There's so many countries out there that wouldn't put up with this shit for 1 second. And their citizens know it. Their citizens know it. Tucker Carlson went to Hungary. Was it Hungary? Hungary? The country Hungary? He went over there, and their border is protected, but nothing but a chain link fence. And they don't have the problems that we had during the Biden administration. They did not have those problems. And Tucker Carlson went over there and talked to the leader of that country, and he's like, hey, we don't have a border problem because we enforce our borders. And people that come here illegally, we document them, we fingerprint them, we take photos of them, and we send them back. Nobody has a problem with that over there because they're protecting their country, the citizens of that country. You do that over here, everybody's got a fucking problem with it for some reason. It's mind-boggling to me. Absolutely mind-boggling. It's I don't know, guys. I mean, it's sad when you think about it. It really is. It really is. Trump 2028, he trolls people with that all the time, guys. And he knows people are going to believe it and fall for it and get triggered by it. So he does it on purpose to get a reaction out of people. This is America, not Hungary. I did not know that. I had no idea where we were. Really? Is this America? This isn't Hungary? Thanks for the update. I appreciate that. Every knee will bow, every tongue will confess. I think you're referring to the Bible with that one. But other countries have zero immigration issues, like Hungary, China for sure, North Korea, like all those countries over in Europe, Italy, they don't put up with that. They don't put up with that shit, man. They just don't. I'm referring to other countries of how they protect their borders. Look it up. Just look it up. We were so relaxed under the Biden administration with our border. That's why that's why you see what you see today. That's why you see ICE out there trying to get these people out of here because they don't belong here. They just don't. They came here for all the wrong reasons because Joe Biden allowed them to come here. Plain and simple. That's it. That's it. And all of a sudden, for no particular reason, Donald Trump was hated for it. Yeah. Anyway, guys, listen. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new here. If you have done that already, I appreciate you. Thank you guys so much for doing that. Make sure you give the live stream a thumbs up. It helps go a long way with the YouTube algorithm and helps spread everything around in the YouTube world as far as getting our message across out there to other folks that may want to watch this content and push our content out there. Turn on all those notifications so you don't miss any time I upload a video or I go live as well. But for that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have on my plate here today. I want to thank all you guys that came in here. If you agree with what I say, that's fantastic. If you don't agree with what I said here today, that's okay too as well. We're allowed to disagree with each other. Okay. I don't argue with anybody in the chat. I did at first, but I'm not going to argue with anybody in the chat because you have all the right in the world to participate and say what you want to say. I'm not going to silence anybody for that. I welcome you to come in here and say what you need to say within reason. Behave yourself, or I will take action. I'll get your ass out. Just like that. I'm just kidding. No. Well, sort of. Well, maybe I'm not. Maybe I am. But anyway. Behave yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. And until next time, we will see you all on the next live stream. Behave yourselves. Be safe out there. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. Take your vitamins. Say your prayers. Have a good night.